Gayatri Jayaraman here from Shamah. Today I'm reading The Way of the Bodhisattva, that is the Bodhicharya Avatara written by Acharya Shantideva. And today I wanted to do a contemplation on a few verses from the chapter on patience. These are starting from verse 19. When sorrows fall upon the wise, their minds should be serene and undisturbed. For in their war against defiled emotion, many are the hardships, as in every battle. Thinking scorn of every pain and vanquishing such foes as hatred, these are exploits of victorious warriors. The rest is slaying what is already dead. Suffering also has its worth. Through sorrow, pride is driven out, and pity felt for those who wander in samsara. Evil is avoided, goodness seems delightful. I am not angry with my bile and other humors, fertile source of suffering and pain. So why should living beings give offense? They likewise are impelled by circumstance. Do pick up a copy when you can. This is The Way of the Bodhisattva by Acharya Shantideva, also called Bodhicharya Avatara. As you may have guessed, today I wanted to do a contemplation on patience. When do we need patience, right? We don't need patience when things are going well in life. We need patience when things are going wrong, when we have discomfort, when we sort of are in situations that would cause us to lose our patience. So, what are the steps that we can take to have patience, and why should we have patience? Okay, it's really easier to just lose our temper, get upset, demand that things be done more efficiently. We've been in those situations, whether it's with customer service. I have lost my temper a lot with customer service, I know. Also, typically we lose our patience when we get strong emotions, and we are irritated or we're angry and we're impatient for the outcome. So here's the thing about patience. Okay? Why do we need it? We need patience to disregard harm or discomfort. We need patience to accept different levels of suffering. We need patience to overcome adverse and intense feelings, and this will allow us to understand the dharma, the right path. Okay. Patience also helps you with personal pain, with hardship. When you're suffering in relation to other people, somebody else has done something, you can't control it. And when you're seeing the painful truths about human life, there is death, there is illness, there is suffering, there is decay, there are things that go wrong, and you have no control over that situation. Hence, what patience does is it prevents the frustration from building up when you're in situations that you cannot control. The biggest benefit of patience is a calm mind. You don't really get upset when things are not going your way. Patience is very useful when also we are wronged. We know the other person is in the wrong, we are on the receiving end. Then can we display patience towards them? When people are treating us with contempt, when people are gossiping about us, when people are using harsh words, when they are causing us pain, you might very rightly ask, why should I have patience in such circumstances? It's not my fault. It's not. But the burden of the resentment, the frustration, the irritation is on your mind. When people do things to us and we're constantly contemplating that, we are giving our mind the control over that space over our mind. As they say, you're allowing somebody to live rent free in your mind to the person who's doing it. So, how do you free your mind from these feelings, these strong emotions? The first thing, of course, is to practice mindfulness. What is mindfulness? Mindfulness is, hospitals have started to use this modular form of mindfulness where they tell you, look at five things around you. Just look at, a sound, taste, smell. Yes, it's a useful practice. But why are you doing it? Mindfulness is grounding yourself in the present moment. It is saying, I see, I witness with the purest of reality everything that is happening as it is. And because I witness that reality as it is, I come to a perfect equanimity. When I come to that perfect equanimity, I witness the chain of cause and effect. What has created these circumstances? So I might be listening to a sound. I might hear the crow outside my window. He's cawing. He's hungry. He's asking for food, which reminds me that I have not put out his food today in the morning, right? So you see not just the immediate circumstance, you also see what has led to that circumstance. You feel heat, you feel sweat. I'm reminded that I have not put on the fan. So there are things that lead to other things. There are things that come from other things. And when you are mindful, you locate yourself in this complex web of cause and effect, right? The first thing to do when you need patience, when you feel the need for patience, is to become mindful. Let's say somebody's shouting at you or somebody's being unreasonable. The first thing is to remind yourself, okay, this person is shouting. They're raising their voice. They look like they're very, very angry. And that anger has come from somewhere. If you don't know the person, it could be they're just having a really bad day. If you know the person, you might remember, okay, this person has not had lunch. Let me get them some lunch. So, do you see how being mindful immediately puts in some compassion, puts in an intervention for where the person's anger is coming from? That is the value of mindfulness. Once you apply your mindfulness, you recognize the situation. You see it for what it is. It's not just anger, it's not just someone shouting. It is somebody who's angry because they feel deprived, because they feel oppressed, because they feel pushed to a corner, because they feel hungry or angry, because they've tried to explain this to you in many, many ways and you haven't understood it. There are so many causes and there are so many effects. When you apply mindfulness, you will see the correct cause and you will see the correct effect. You will also recognize what your own buttons and triggers are. What is upsetting you about the incident? Sometimes, when you apply mindfulness and recognize the situation, you might realize that what's irritating you is that the person is correct. Doesn't happen very often, I'm sure. But sometimes we get angry that the person is pointing out what is correct, that we have made a mistake, that we do have flaws. So recognize your own triggers. You don't like being called out in public. You don't like being pushed into a corner. You don't like your faults being pointed out. You don't like being wrong. There could be so many aspects of that that are causing you to react in a manner that is impatient. Observe your bodily response. What are your thoughts? What are your emotions? What are your feelings? Just sit with them. When somebody points out that you have made a huge mistake and it was your fault that something happened, how does your body react? Do you puff up and become belligerent? Do you shrink down and become withdrawn? You know, what's a good response? According to Acharya Shantideva, a good response is be like a log, be like a rock, even. Do nothing. Just sit there. When things are not going your way, when people are treating you with contempt, when people are attacking you, when you feel that the circumstance is not changing no matter what you're doing, acquire patience. Just be like a log. Drift if you're in the water. If you're on land, just stand. When things change, you will know. When the energy changes, you will know. When the attitude of the person changes, you will know. When it is time to respond, you will know. Use that time of being log like to contemplate, gain insight. Why am I in this suffering? Why is the other person inflicting this suffering? What connects us? What is the compassion I can send towards the other person? What do they need from me in order to change the situation? Wisdom, prajna, is also a paramita. Patience is also a paramita. Is my understanding correct? Is there another way to see what is happening? Are we both participating in this situation? Where can I apply the blame? Look inward, contemplate, see it more broadly, expand your vision, see it from more and more sides. Take ownership, take responsibility for what is your participation in the event. Cultivate an antidote. The antidote for issues that trigger impatience in you is patience. It is love. It is compassion. When you're in a conflict situation with somebody, remember who they were when you were not in conflict with them, what your relationship was like, what their expectations are, who they are at their absolute core, when they are lovely people, when you can relate to them, when you do like them, when they're not annoying you. Who are they? Respond from there. Shift your response from one of annoyance and irritation, from a source of annoyance and irritation, to a place of love, compassion, and remembrance of their core identity. When you give them that respect, they will also be forced to push their perspective to that and say, this person who I'm shouting at is treating me with respect. I also have to go and respond from the respect, because then they're responding or reacting, if they are not being particularly mindful, from what you are tossing at them. It's like a game of ping pong. What they have tossed at you is anger. You've tossed out the anger, put in a ball of love and compassion, tossed it back to them. They have to respond to the ball that you're sending. So you have automatically changed the game. You've changed the nature of the reaction. You've changed the nature of the response. Anything that takes you one step closer to seeing reality as it is a virtue. It's a paramita. There's no absolute virtue. It has to be cultivated. Anything that takes you away from the truth is a non virtue. So when we say we are cultivating a virtue, it is not about pleasing others, it's not about pleasing society, it's not about being in line with tradition. It's about what is taking me closer to my goals, what is taking me closer to my absolute perception of reality, what is taking me closer to my own authentic self and its clear expression. Somewhere with all the moralizing and the moral policing, we have started to throw out our virtues because we feel like, why should I, offer patience? Why should I offer gratitude? Why should I offer love to this world that's so hostile, that's so mean, that's so oppressive, that's pushing me into a corner? Why should I? We don't offer virtues for others, we offer virtues for ourselves because they build us, because they give us perspective, they make our lives easier. When put into practice, they get us closer to where we want to go. So cultivate patience as a paramita. It will transform your life in ways that surprise you. Let me know how it goes.